pursuant to the following call. In the letter to the Commissioners dated November 27, 2024, and reading as follows. The Honorable Members of the Delta County Board of Commissioners. Dear Commissioners, a regular meeting of the Delta County Board of Commissioners is scheduled for Tuesday, December 3rd, 2024 at 5:15 p.m. in the conference room at the Delta County Service Center. Sincerely yours, Nancy Pezrocki, Delta County Clerk. Please rise for a word of prayer. Lord, as we begin this meeting, we are thankful for our many blessings. We ask for guidance to help our commissioners make decisions in the best interest of the citizens of our county. And Lord, we pray for the safety of our military men and women. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call. Commissioner Melner?
Here.
Commissioner View?
Here.
Commissioner Crosdell?
Here.
Commissioner Vangenhoven?
Here.
And Commissioner Jensen.
Here. Okay, thank you for coming. Let's see. We'll get down to number 5, approval of the minutes of the previous meetings, county board meeting minutes of 11/19/24. Can I get a motion on?
moved.
Support?
Support.
Any discussion on those? All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion pass. There was no committee of a whole. We'll move on to number 6, approval of the agenda.
Make a motion to approve agenda as presented.
I'll second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion pass. Presentation of written communications received and forwarded. If you look
Make
at
a-
1.5, there's everything there.
Motion to put communications received and forwarded on file.
Can I get a second?
Support.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody? All in favor? Let's see, we got motion pass. Number 8, reports of standing statutory special meetings and others.
Motion to put meeting minutes from Community Action Agency, Public Health, Human Services Board, and Airport Advisory Board minutes on file.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion pass. Public comment on agenda items. Dennis Hopkins.
I'll wait till public comments at the end.
Okay. Anybody else on comments on agenda items? Seeing none, we will move on to committee reports. Administrator report.
I have one item to address with the commission. I regret to inform you that 2 significant departures from the airport have given their resignation notice. It would be Airport Manager Robert Ransadler and our Assistant Airport Manager Robin Morrison. I spoke with both Chair Melner and our Advisory Chair Hero to move the county forward. There'll be meetings with personnel, finance, and the advisory board in the near future. And I also met with Robin and Bob to discuss the transitional process. Thank you.
Okay. Can I get a motion to put the administrator's report on file?
I'll make that motion.
Can I get a second?
I'll second.
In favor?
Can I make a comment?
Sure.
I was just curious why I didn't receive that administrator's report in my packet. Is it missing, or does everyone have it, or is it just me that don't have that?
It's a verbal report.
Verbal report.
Okay, all right.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Okay, motion pass. Now we'll move on to Finance Committee minutes of 11/21/24.
So the Finance Committee minutes from 11/21/24 was several items that we are actually going to address further in the board meeting tonight, and those are items number 8, 9, and 10 on your agenda. And we'll be discussing those in detail here within the board.
Okay, can I get a motion to put Finance Committee minutes on file?
I'll make a motion.
Can I get a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion pass. Departmental updates.
Airport Manager Bob Ransadler here tonight.
Good evening, members of the board. The last time I delivered a major department head update was earlier this year on February 6th. My briefing took place on the heels of a failed FY23 FAA inspection that I first inherited and then corrected after being hired as a Delta County Airport Manager. Since that time, we have made many strides forward at the airport, including abating costly tax penalties due to a backlog of bookkeeping issues and flawlessly passing our subsequent FY24 FAA Part 139 annual inspection. I have additionally appeared before this body over the past year delivering other good news, including accomplishments made in replacing aging airfield equipment, the securing of new airport improvement grants, advancements in developing a more robust airport security plan, the recent execution of a strategic partnership between the airport and AEG Fuels, and the adoption of a new airport fee schedule, the latter pair of which has already netted the airport greater than projected revenues. Unfortunately, many of the resource and staffing shortages I identified since first taking over the airport continue to present numerous challenges. As I shared in my February address to the county board, our airfield operations department, which does triple duty by also serving as our airport firefighting staff and fixed base operator fueling staff, is critically shorthanded. Moreover, we lack sufficient full-time administrative staff to keep pace with the daily operations, long-term planning, and regulatory commitments of a commercial service airport. I additionally mentioned during my last major update that I had worked multiple 60 to 70-hour work weeks, correcting the hundreds of discrepancies discovered during the airport's FY23 FAA periodic inspection. Since then, I have spent additional uncompensated overtime hours identifying and correcting issues at the airport, under the assumption that we are traversing through a demanding but transient period, at the end of which daily business would return to a more manageable tempo. Regrettably, the reality of the matter has proven otherwise. Collectively, all the issues Assistant Manager Morrison and I have uncovered over the past year are indicative of administrative, fiduciary, and economic decay exceeding anything I could have previously imagined. There are simply too many challenges to negotiate with the limited staff the airport has available while maintaining any semblance of daily operations. This has placed me in the untenable position of either choosing between working hundreds of hours of uncompensated overtime or limiting myself to a 40-hour work week during which there is not sufficient time, personnel, or resources to prevent or repair systemic failures. All this has culminated in a stressful work environment, which has taken a tremendous toll on myself and Assistant Manager Morrison, who submitted her resignation earlier today. Although these issues have remained largely out of the public eye, there are problems that I have routinely brought to the attention of the Airport Advisory Board over the past year, a group whose explicit job is to advise this body about affairs of the airport. With the notable exceptions of Commissioners Jensen and Van Ginhoven, who joined the Airport Board only a few short months ago, my concerns have largely gone unaddressed and unacknowledged. For all these reasons, I am tendering my own letter of resignation. In the interest of facilitating a smooth transition of leadership, however, I'm making my resignation effective approximately 3 months from today, with my last anticipated day of work being February 7th. I shared with Administrator Young that I am also willing to step down from my full-time salaried position to that of a part-time trainer or advisor in order to help acclimate my future replacement to his or her new position. All of my plans, however, will be contingent upon future work opportunities that may require me to quit my position prior to next February. In the event such a development occurs, I will notify the administrator immediately and provide a minimum of 2 weeks' notice. Additionally, at any point between now and February, if Administrator Young, the County Board of Commissioners, or the Airport Advisory Board feel my services are no longer needed, I'm prepared to submit 2 weeks' notice effective immediately. With everything else said, I think it important to manage expectations moving forward. As I have repeatedly advised the airport board on numerous occasions, the airport administration office is already struggling to keep pace with our daily and long-term commitments. Managing anything other than routine tasks following the assistant manager's upcoming departure will be virtually impossible. Consequently, I anticipate several previously restored programs and processes once again falling to the wayside. Administrator Young and I are already working toward mitigating these problems, but certain program failures will prove unavoidable until a replacement manager is hired and provided sufficient staffing and resources. It has been a tremendous honor and privilege serving as your airport manager and working for the people of Delta County. I am thankful for the opportunity to have served our community and will do everything in my limited amount of time I have left at the airport to ensure its future success. Thank you.
May I ask Mr. Anstetler a question?
Sure.
Okay. Given your experience within this position, how would you recommend we move forward with finding a replacement? What would your recommendation be?
Well, I think there's, pardon me, I think there's something fundamentally wrong with the current system. If you look at the environment as a whole, including former manager Kelly Smith, who retired in 2018. I'm the fifth manager that the airport has seen in approximately 6 years. Assistant Manager Morrison is the fourth manager that the airport's seen in about 6-7 years. So it's indicative of me that there's a larger problem there. And I believe the accepted practice, at least what occurred when I was hired, was that the Airport Advisory Board was the hiring body and the hiring authority. I would recommend that the Delta County Board of Commissioners take more direct action on that as a hiring body or a hiring authority, and that you actively seek out the opinions and advice of subject matter experts, whether they be former or current airport managers, maybe neighboring Part 139 airport managers, or someone who has previously held the position at the airport that has a deep understanding of what that position requires, and then take those recommendations, or even tenants, for example, people who have been at the airport for a long time, that have a vested long-term interest in the airport. I would take all those considerations and opinions into consideration in the process, and hopefully, by gathering upon that subject matter expertise in that body, you would be able to find a suitable replacement. And at the same time, hire that person into a position where they have the support required for that role.
Thank you.
I'd like to make a comment if I could, Mr. Chair. I understand what's happening, and I just want to thank you for your contributions in problem solving a lot of the issues, and I hope we have them documented somewhat moving forward. Also, I'm sorry things didn't work out right for the county and for you and Robin, but I think you're good people, and I wish both of you the best in the future, wherever you decide to use your resources, because I do like your managerial skills and how you document stuff. Sometimes a little long, but you're very thorough, and I think the county will kind of miss some of that, but with your help, like Commissioner Van Ginhoven said, I think we can move forward and get what we need strategically, whether it's more help, stuff like that. That's what I'm looking forward to.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Thanks much. Okay. Sad.
You moving on to unfinished business, number 1, Planning Commission bylaws update.
I'll make a motion that we untable the planning commission bylaws for consideration as presented by the planning commission.
Or
Support.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any discussion? Motion pass. Number 2, Planning Commission ordinance update.
Make a motion that we untable the planning commission ordinance update as presented by the planning commission.
Support. Sorry.
Okay, any discussion?
Is that ordinance change, maybe I have the wrong one right now. Is there only two things that were changed in there? One from,
Yeah. They were just edits, managerial edits.
May to, from shall to may.
Yep.
On one of the things, and the removal of non-excused. And I just wanted to figure out, is that for 3 consecutive meetings, or is that, say, one meeting, then you go for 2 meetings?
It's consecutive.
So it's just consecutive meetings. And there's no, you can't be excused from that at all.
It's, if you miss 3 meetings,
No matter what.
you're missing a quarter of a year.
Consecutive meetings, though. But you can miss 4 meetings if they're every other month?
Well, let's hope that doesn't happen.
No, I know that, but I just wanted to get clarification as I read it. Okay.
And then also, we changed administrative secretary to the label recording secretary.
Okay, I didn't notice that. But
Yeah.
maybe I didn't read far enough.
So that's okay.
Okay, I can live with that. I think that would be good changes in there, and then 3 changes. And now the public will know too without reading it.
Well, they just coincide with each other now, which
Yes.
hadn't happened before.
Yeah,
Okay.
they do mirror now.
Any more discussion?
Aye.
Okay. Motion pass. New business. Payment of bills. Bills.
I've examined all claims presented and recommend payment of the following, and that the county clerk be directed to issue orders on the county treasurer to the claimants for the amounts allowed. $67,519.91, and commissioner expenses of $912.82.
I'll make a motion that we pay the bills in the sum of $1,067,519.91 and commissioner expenses of $912.82.
Can I get a roll call?
Oh, we got a second.
Oh,
Oh, support.
now can I get a,
View,
Yes.
Rousdale,
Yes.
Van Genhoven,
Yes.
Jensen,
Yes.
and Melnick.
yes. Bills paid. Number 2, Michigan State University Extension Veterans and SNAP benefits.
We have Paul Putnam here.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm Paul Putnam. I'm a district director with MSU Extension. I help coach and manage staff in the central and western UP. I live in north central Menominee County. I took advantage here to try to also load you up with a bunch of other information since I haven't been through here since, I think, late April. So what you'll see in front of you, real quickly, I'll walk you through a little bit of this. We have some smart gardening information, some information. Partner a lot with MDARD, and I'm not sure if you've seen this magazine and publication, but you have it now at your disposal. The second packet of information that you have is specific to the 4-H program that Dave Radloff runs here in the county, does an excellent job with. And there's 2 different reports on here that are these larger ones with a lot of color photos of smiling kids and happy things. There's a December update, and then there's also a September update. There's some new information here with 3 new clubs that are in the back of the December one that aren't part of this other initial one right here. This is a article that talks about it, one of the handouts that we use. One of the things I urge you to think about is we're always looking for good adult volunteers. So if you're in your friends, family, church, neighborhood network, and you know somebody who might be interested, we're always looking for really good adults who would want to volunteer. Our strength is our volunteers that are able to really help with those. The other thing that we do that a lot of folks are not familiar with is they think, well, I'm not into sewing, I don't have goats, I'm not raising chickens, right? That's kind of the traditional, that's how a lot of people think about it, right? That's how a lot of people think about it. We have what's called spin clubs, which are special interest clubs. So we have any number of folks in different places, different counties, that might be into kayaking, for example, or fly fishing. Well, certainly you can't do that year-round. but they might do that for 2 or 3 times during the course of the summer, or things of that nature. So I would encourage you to reach out, again, to your friends and family and the people in your network, and don't think kind of the traditional, or we don't have goats or sewing, because we do an awful lot more, and there's some of that kind of information here. Thank you for that. And then the last one here is Commissioner Kelly had asked me to talk about this. You should have this handout here that's on our SNAP Ed program, Veteran Liaison Outreach. We had, a long story short, we were able to present at the UPCAP meeting back in October. And John Sullivan, who has since resigned, he was our liaison for the entire UP that runs our veteran outreach for the SNAP Ed program. It's to build awareness primarily through the veteran community. John had another opportunity and was able to go through there, and he just left on November 30th. But if you look at this handout, what I want you to think about, again, think about your friends and family network, the people who live in your community, the people that you know. We have an awful lot of folks that are struggling, and they're not getting by on a whole lot of resources, and they may not have all the information. Specifically, our veterans, we have much higher percentage of veterans than the statewide average here in the UP. And in some counties, we are 3 or 4 times what that is. I'm gonna head over to the western side here for a few days over there. Ontonagon is actually one of the top 5 counties in the nation in per capita veteran. They don't have a whole lot of people, they do have a lot of veterans. And if you look at this, I'm gonna walk you through this if I could real quickly. We have a lot of veterans who are very proud, whether they've retired out or they served 3 or 4 years. They may be eligible for this based on their income. They may not want that assistance, but if they don't even know the assistance is available, that's part of the process that we're trying to do. And even though we don't have John Sullivan, you all have my information, and we'll make sure we can get these people. If you know of anybody, refer them to me. We'll be able to get them the resources that they need to do that. We don't sign people up for the SNAP Ed. We help educate to make sure folks know it's available to them. So if you'll humor me just a little bit, if I look at this top right here in this, if there's 2 people in a household, let's say that there's a couple that are in their 70s, for example, that are retired, maybe only served for 3 or 4 years, might have served for 22. If their household income is $26,580 or less, they would be eligible. That's not a whole lot of money. And we have an awful lot of our veterans, especially those that are single, and some that are still married, have surviving spouses. They're trying to get by on $1,500, $2,000 or less a month in terms of what they have for income. So this is why this is really important. This is kind of an internal document, but we wanted to make sure that everybody has this. This is very similar to what we handed out at the UPCAP meeting back in late October. It has different resources and different things. These are examples. They're not dyed in the wool. There's different situations. People have different scenarios. Another part to draw your attention to on the front page is where it's highlighted here. The government used to have an asset limitation to where if you had over $15,000 in asset, you were not eligible. So even if you owned your own home and your home wasn't worth a whole lot, let's say $75,000 or $100,000, you would not be eligible. Those restrictions were removed effective March 1st of this year. That is absolutely huge for an awful lot of our people and our seniors. I bring this up in the context of veterans, but this program is eligible for anybody who meets these thresholds. Our emphasis has been to try to get more of the veteran outreach, but we're trying to also make sure that the people in our communities are aware that they are eligible or may be eligible for these types of programs. The federal government has the Farm Bill every 5 years, which this is a part of. Every 2-year election cycle, that becomes a ping pong match for an awful lot of folks at the federal level because of funding and appropriations and things of that nature. How many people here live in school districts that have school lunch and breakfast programs that are fully funded now? Everybody, because the governor made that available. We have an awful lot of kids in these schools, and when you get 60-70% threshold that are eligible, there's a lot of need. There's a lot of seniors who are in need that don't even know that. So my main focus was to get you this information, to be able to have you take a look at it. There's a lot here. I'm not trying to have everybody read it and unpack it right now. But on the back side of this, I'd like to draw your attention to some additional information. If you look at these three that are kind of highlighted in blue that start with Double Up Food Bucks, the Supplemental Food Programs Commodity, and Senior Project Fresh, those are all additional programs. And we work extensively with Senior Project Fresh, which is also part of the farmer's market and the Double Up Bucks. So when we are able to get low-income seniors those food coupons, they're able to use that in your farmer's market, which is a really big thing and extremely popular. And if you look at some of these other parts that are in here, they'll give you some eligibility examples. There'll also be a little bit of information here to where if folks are on SSI or things like that, other types of federal assistance, they automatically qualify for some of these types of things too. So, my main message is we all know folks in our friends and family network, our communities that are struggling. Sometimes they may know about this, sometimes they don't. Our whole process in education through extension is to be able to get that word and that outreach out there. And if you have anybody that you know, you have my card, anybody in the audience would like any of this information, I have some extra copies. And we just want to make sure that folks are aware that this is out there. And again, I know there are some veterans that we've had some really good conversations with, and they don't want this assistance, even if they're eligible, that's fine. But we want to make sure folks know that it's available. So, and I'd be glad to answer any questions if you have anything, or if you don't, you have my contact information, be glad to work with anybody at any time.
Mr. Chair. As the SNAP benefit by household size on the bottom, is that the formula we can use for anybody, or is that just for vets?
No, it's for anybody. These are SNAP.
Okay,
These are for anybody that would qualify for the SNAP Ed program. What unfortunately, I think a lot of, how do I say this? I think a lot of public perception is that this is people who only have kids. Or kids in school type of thing, and it's not. It's absolutely not. And if we look at actually the number of people throughout the UP that have started to do more and more, especially COVID since, there's a huge number there. These are approximations, because there are certain things that you can do for deductions and things like that that would lower certain thresholds. But it's a good example that gives you a good idea of what that is. When you talk to folks or you think about it, this is what I'd encourage you to think about, and it's here on that front page. If folks are trying to get by on $2,000 less a month and they're a household of two, you're definitely eligible. So.
Good, I appreciate that.
Sure.
Anybody else have questions?
Well, I was gonna comment, the other one that's included in the packet for us is the Adulting 101 program.
Oh, yeah,
that-
thanks.
That you guys do.
Thanks.
And it actually goes, there's something every month, and, the common joke, I give adulting, 1 out of 5 stars or something, people joke about. But it's, I'd encourage people, take the opportunity and look at it. They're free, it's done on Zoom. I think there's some, it's not necessarily by age. I think there's something that fits in for everybody. It may not be every class every month, but over the course of the year, I think that hits a very large group of our people. So
Well, I appreciate
it's a
it.
great program, thank you.
Thanks, I forgot to bring that handout up here. I got there. But yeah, a short answer too is, if you're not familiar with the MSU Extension website, please take a look, or if you need more information, let us know. You can search by any topic, and you'd be amazed. There's usually a class that's gonna be taught within a few weeks, few months on that. We have our new commissioner training, we have things on government finance, we have things on babysitting for youth, we have all financial literacy for adults, for youth. There's a tremendous amount of stuff, and it's not just pigs and horses and sewing. So, thank you for that plug. I forgot my handout back there.
I just want to say thank you for coming.
Well, thank you, and thank you for your continued support. This board has always been great to work with, and we appreciate your financial support to continue to allow us to do what we do. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yep, thank you.
That was mainly information. We'll move on to number 3, resolution for support on Pinwin Industries Waste and Renewable Project.
I'm gonna move that we sign this resolution and follow through with it, sending it to the government agencies that are listed on it. And the reason I say that, I believe in it, that it's something good for the UP. It's
Mr.
not.
Chair, it's just a motion, we don't have a
Okay.
second for discussion yet.
Yep, all right.
Yeah. So you got a motion, second?
Motion to. get
I'll
this-
second.
Okay, now discussion?
Well, since I made the motion, I just want to explain that we all seen the presentation. It's not costing the county anything. And if you read the resolution, it's got a lot of good things about the green energy. And what they're trying to do is get notification out there to the governor, to Eagle, to the different entities in our state to look at the possibility of having this green energy, which calls plasma gasification, to invest in, especially in the UP. And Menominee has already approved it. Schoolcraft County has already approved it. I got calls from commissioners there. They're all excited about at least the concept of being able to start looking at the viability of this. Maybe it'll fall through, I don't know. But one of the main areas that they're looking at could be Delta County because of the rail system we have here and the deep water ports. And that's why I highly recommend that we pass this resolution.
Actually, if it was just over the idea of it, that might be something. The technology's not close to being ready yet. It's a wonderful idea. When you're having to generate temperatures up to 10,000 degrees Celsius, that's a whole lot of electricity. And if you talk to most folks around, they're gonna tell you, we have some of the highest electrical costs around. Now you're talking about adding to that. It isn't just the technology portion of it, that's not completely mature. There are a few of them that are out there. I guess the one thing that comes to concern is one of the things created is there are several chemicals that are created in this process. There's also solids that are created. So it's not like it mysteriously, everything goes away. The solids, according to their previous presentation, can be used as possibly road aggregates in construction of roads. But there's also several other chemicals that are re-brought back out as it's condensed. Those can be used to create plastics and stuff down the road, but the issue is this isn't our facility. This is a private facility. So those chemicals are a commodity. So you're gonna start to retain hazmat on site until that quantity becomes viable for that company to sell. So it's not like as soon as you have something, it goes away. It's gonna be there until it's profitable for them to ship that out. So that is also a concern in there. One of the other ones is this isn't a resolution in support of the technology to go to the governor and to various state agencies. This is actually recommending for this specific company to do this. And in my conversation with the individual, there was a whole lot of questions that he couldn't answer about this. And the individual we had is the one promoting this company. If we vote for this, we're actually wanting to say, yep, we approve this. We want this company to put this in. Yes, it could be put in here. Both of the deep water ports you make reference to are private. They're not public. And for this to run efficient, requires over 200 tons of solid waste a day. 200 tons. So if we're looking at something we want to be green, now we're gonna be a net importer of other people's garbage. Okay, but that's not something that the county's generating revenue on, that's this specific company. Part of the presentation, when they gave and wanted this support, is so that they can go to the state and look at the state as an investor to help build this facility because of the cost. If it's one of those, in my opinion, that is really ready for prime time, and it's really that great of a system, you would have major US cities, take New York, that's a perfect example. How often do you see any kind of movie, picture, or if you've ever traveled through by New York City, how many barges move with trash in them? If this was truly that kind of system, they would have not just one, they would probably have several operating nonstop. So it's a neat idea. I did read the research paper that this company did do with MIT back in the day. And it's interesting. Originally, it was designed to help get rid of biomedical waste and low-yield radioactive items. They didn't say up to what size that was, but low yield. Now they're looking at trying to do other things. I just don't see why it's viable for prime time anytime soon.
Any more discussion?
Well, we can disagree on the concept today, but it's coming. This process is coming. It's all over the world. It's in different places. It's with the government and the green energy waste management committees we have to make. I just think it's very important to look at this, and it will produce jobs. And I've talked to the owner of this company many times, and he's emailed me multiple times. And it's not a done deal to the extent that it's just a private entity that's running this and it's gonna have complete control. He has entertained the suggestion of a public-private partnership, which would be governed by the counties along with him. This is something that's, yep, it's just in the debate stage right now. And I think it's worth signing to get the notice in the whole country what the UP has the potential to do with this green energy process.
May I?
Yes.
Okay. The only concern that I have regarding this resolution, which also Commissioner Johnson said, was under the now therefore be it resolved that the Delta County Board of Commissioners fully supports the development of Penguin Industries LLC's waste to renewables facility as an essential step forward towards creating a more sustainable future for the Upper Peninsula while addressing both environmental and economic goals. Not been contacted by Ty, right? His name is Ty. We have not seen any presentations from him. I have not been educated on what his facility would look like, how it would be built. This section of this resolution states that we support him, but I know nothing of Penguin Industries. So I would be leery to sign this or accept this or approve this with that section in there. Because I do agree with you that it's coming, right? We've been presented with these companies around the world that are doing this. But the problem is that this resolution specifically says that we are supporting Penguin Industries, and I know nothing about them. I don't know their financial background. I don't know their board of directors. I don't know anything about them. And it's not presented here in the resolution,
No.
the background on Penguin. So I would need to see that before I would be able to approve the resolution.
Okay, but
Yeah.
the biggest thing is,
I understand.
a resolution like this is not gonna be done by a county. It's gonna be a private investor. He has investors that are putting up money to go forward with this. What he's trying to do is get government, federal money to move forward with it. And as far as supporting it, even if it is private, it costs the county nothing to support his idea. It cost us nothing.
I agree. I do have concerns, though, with the fact that I know nothing of Penguin Industries and its financial background and its structure. And we're saying that as a county, we support this LLC.
Well, he gave our presentation at the Youth Commissioners Conference. and
Yeah,
I
it
thought
was-
we all were there.
Yeah, we absolutely we were. However, I felt that it was a vague presentation.
Well, it was, it was.
Very vague.
So
Very vague.
I don't feel that at this time that I have enough knowledge of Penguin Industries to put my mark of approval on behalf of Delta County and its citizens. That's all. If, I'm not saying to shoot it down, maybe I'm saying to table it or, just bring it back up, have Ty come here and give us a very detailed presentation so that we would be able to support something like this. Sorry.
You don't have to be sorry for what you believe in. I believe in the process. I did a lot of research on my own. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work to check into it. I'm probably not as knowledgeable as some of the commissioners here, but I like its potential. And I will give him 100% of my support to try to do something, even as a private individual, to help us with this green energy, our landfills, and in the cost of waste management down, because I can tell you right now, from what I've seen sitting on that board, the landfill board, Delta County Landfill Authority, and what the governor's brought down, mandated on us with material management, the people are gonna pay the price very high in the next 4 to 5 years, and this is a start. This is a start for a private guy to look for 15 county support. I think he has most of the surrounding areas already signing it and supporting it. I just wanted us to kind of be on board with it, give him the confidence to go forward with whatever he feels he's gonna invest. I don't care what he has in money or anything, to the extent that if he has the investors and willing to put his effort out here to do something like this, I'm gonna support him.
Any more discussion? Get a roll call?
Sure.
What's the motion, please?
By Commissioner Review and seconded by Commissioner Crosdell to adopt the resolution of support for Penguin Industries Waste to Renewal project as presented,
To accept, okay. Thank you.
or to adopt.
To adopt, yes, I'm sorry, thank you.
Commissioner Review,
Yes.
Crosdell,
No.
Van Genhoven,
No.
Jensen,
No.
and Melner.
No, at this time.
May I just ask one thing? The research that you've done for this on your own, if you have any documentation on that, can you send that to us just so that we can have the same research that you've done shared with all of us so that we could possibly bring this back?
Most of it was, like reading, looking at different facilities in Canada, Sweden,
Okay.
and stuff like that. I just read about it and how the military has embraced it on some aircraft carriers and stuff like that. I mean,
Okay.
it's not really documentation, but just stuff that made me feel good that, hey, there's some potential here in the Upper Peninsula.
Okay, I'll look it up.
And for creating jobs, railroad system and our deep water ports. We could have a thriving community like we had back in the 1900s when the ore shipment and everything in Fayette State Park. I mean,
Sure, yeah. Thank you, Steve.
Okay. We will move on to number 4, Revenue Sharing Trust Fund legislation.
This was requested by Commissioner Melnar to put on to the agenda. It deals with House Bills 4274 and 4275, which are actually recently passed by the House and is moving on to the Senate. The two main components of this legislation is to create a revenue sharing trust fund and dedicate 8% of the 4% sales tax to statutory revenue sharing, and then also distribute the remaining balance to cities, villages, and counties currently receiving statutory revenue sharing payments in the same proportion as the fiscal year 2020, or 23 and 24 budget.
Okay, and this was brought up through Michigan Association of Counties that we should really support this.
Are you looking for, it's a letter of support that's here?
It's a letter of support, yep. So I am looking for a motion.
I'll make a motion that we accept the letter of support for the revenue sharing trust fund.
Can I get a second?
I'll support it with a few comments after.
Okay, any discussion?
Mr. Chair, I just attended MAC meeting last week. This had to be in by December 2nd, but I think if we send it in now, maybe it will make an impact. The main issue here is we need to get every commissioner signing the same letter, not just one letter. Okay, it has to be everybody on the board. They're looking for volume of letters, not just one letter from a 9-member board or a 5-member board, because they want to present that to whatever organization in the government they need to spearhead this revenue sharing stuff better for the community. So with that being said, I was gonna send something in last week after my meeting. And then I read it had to be on county letterhead and I didn't have it. And then I seen it on the agenda and I
What,
thought,
you know, I got the email and it was very, very short.
yep,
Time. So I still told Ashley we should probably put it on.
absolutely.
What I did is I also emailed all the counties in the UP that did not go to MAC or might not get the information, so they also got it, so. And I know a lot of them said that their meetings weren't until like after December 2nd.
Well, to get the biggest bang for this support of this, we need to make sure that we get this out quickly. If we can get it out by tomorrow, but then I would like to see they recommend that, and they told me to bring it up at a meeting.
Yeah,
Make sure every commissioner has the same letter, they sign it, and then they have that portal where you send it to.
So you're sending 5 letters. is what
Right.
you're saying.
5 letters.
That's what I understood that they
Yeah.
wanted us to do. Did you understand that the same way, basically?
All I got was a email saying that we need this right away and try to get it on your board meeting, your next board meeting.
Yeah. Well, I think Samantha Gibbons, I talked to her, and
And
this is
I
what
mean,
they
I know
wanted.
MAC is pretty powerful with the,
They're worried about this. They
Yeah.
need all
Yes.
these signatures,
Yep.
you know, so.
so,
So,
That's what I would recommend we do if we pass this.
yeah, that's fine.
any more discussion?
I have a comment, if this is approved and you want 5 individual letters, you
I think it
all
has to
are
be
gonna have
digital? No, the same letter, just signed by 5 people.
Yep.
We need your signature.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
we'd have to come in tomorrow to sign it in your office?
Can we sign it digitally or not? Is that
No.
possible? That's what they kind of
I
said,
mean,
because you have to.
Typically, we have the original held in the administration's office.
Okay.
Can we all make it down to sign tomorrow?
Once we get them
Yeah.
posted.
Is it gonna be digital at your office? Is that,
You're gonna sign it.
You gotta
Sign it.
physically sign it.
First.
They
okay,
can send it digitally after.
We can send it, we'll send it.
okay, because they have that portal they want it sent to by
Correct.
yesterday.
We'll send it off digitally.
But we
Okay.
still need a physical signature.
Yeah.
So
All
we,
right,
we
yep.
can all get in the office tomorrow morning to do that?
Yep, be there at 6
All right.
o'clock,
6 o'clock.
before my bus
I was
runs.
gonna say,
You
part
can
of
beat on the
it,
doors then.
correct me if I'm missing something. Part of it with the revenue sharing trust fund is that it helps stabilize what comes out of the Constitution revenue sharing, because right now there's an X percentage that's still supposed to go to local government that doesn't necessarily always get to local government because either the legislature or the governor decides to utilize that
change
funds for
that
other things.
percentage.
Yes.
This
This
is,
would lock
Percentage,
that in.
yeah.
what this does, it gives us a certain amount, that is more guaranteed, I guess.
Into different buckets. too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's more stabilized,
It's beneficial for the counties.
yes. Very beneficial. So I got a motion, got a second, we got discussion. Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion passed. Okay, thank you for that. Let's see here. 2025 County Veteran Service Fund Grant Agreement.
Presented before you is the grant agreement for the 2025 County Veteran Service Fund. The grant is for $36,783.47 with no matching funds of the county. These funds are budgeted to cover the part-time clerical position that we had discussed earlier in budget conversations and training for the personnel. We're looking for approval for
So
Commissioner Muller
moved.
to sign.
Support.
One comment,
Any discussion?
well, it says the funds will be up to 36,783.47. The county will receive a direct payment of up to 50,000, and any remainder will be paid on a reimbursement basis. Explain that.
So, I believe that is a template letter that they send us every year. We have had in the past where we've crossed it like up to 75,000, or a grant agreement for 75,000. They give us 50,000 upfront, then we have to request the remaining funds after the fact, through digital submissions. If we do not spend that full $50,000, we do have to send back unspent money to the fund.
Okay, so this letter is saying that we're gonna at least be guaranteed the 36,000 something,
Correct.
but not the 50,000.
Correct, because we did not apply for anything above the 36,000.
Okay, could
So
we-
unless we do an amendment in such and it is approved by the Veteran Service Fund, yes, we could ask for up to, I think it's 75 in total.
Is there a reason why we didn't ask for it? Do you know?
Well, with the, so this fund can only be used for new items. It cannot supplant.
Restrictions.
Yes, funding. So currently, the county supplies up to an X amount of dollars. We were looking for getting a clerical position, which is a new position, that's what we applied it for.
Okay, well, that clears up the two figures anyways.
Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion passed. Number 6, resolution approve magistrate appointment of Nicholas Uzel.
Russell. According to MCL 600.8501, Section 1, all magistrate appointments are subject to the approval of the County Board of Commissioners before a person assumes their duties of the office of magistrate. District Court Judge Stephen Parks is looking for a resolution by the Board of Commissioners for his appointees. So that I'm kind of talking about 6 and 7 for the after-hours magistrates.
Okay. Can I get a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Can I get support?
Support.
Any discussion? Steve?
Well, it's, we just approved, where these people gonna be paid?
This is, yeah.
So what was approved last time? And do they have another job with the county?
Yes.
What's their job? Because I thought I heard
So
their,
friend
I
of the
thought
court
they were
director
defendants.
and the friend of the court referee.
Okay, they're already employed by the county also.
Right.
So what we're doing is adding to the pool of people that can do after-hours stuff to alleviate
So it's not,
just one person having to be on duty all the time.
correct.
Okay, and then whoever's on duty with
Receive
these
this-
people will just rotate as needed? Okay. So we're not changing anything or adding any expense,
Nope.
additional expense, just two qualified people into that position?
Correct.
All right.
Any more discussion? Roll call?
Commissioner View,
Yes.
Crosdell,
Yes.
Van Genhoven,
Yes.
Jensen,
Yes.
and Melner.
Yes. Number 7, resolution to approve magistrate appointment of Andrew Hayes.
Move to approve.
Support?
Same.
Same thing, right?
Same thing.
Yep. Okay.
No discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
We gotta do a roll call.
Whoop, roll call. Yes.
As soon as we did it, it's like,
Yep.
Why does this have to be a roll call?
Because it's a
It's a
resolution
Yeah.
and it's
Okay,
formal,
all right, I
and rules
just-
require it to be a roll.
Always gotta ask.
View,
Yes.
Crosdell,
Yes.
Van Genhoven.
yes.
Jensen.
Yes.
And Melner.
Yes. Okay. Number 8. Get my machine to work. Number 8 is building and zoning township zoning contracts.
Upon discussion and review of zoning activities for the townships, the Finance Committee recommends a 25-cent per parcel increase to the contracts, and I'm looking for approval from the commission to apply the recommendation of the Finance Committee and distribute the updated contracts to the townships.
Okay, can I get a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Can I get a support?
I'll support.
Discussion?
I just want to say that increase that was there was actually, prior to that, the county was actually at a loss while doing, the zoning for those entities. So this actually allows us to actually break even now.
Yeah, it was, can't remember what,
In range, I think it was like 17.
It was
to
17.
it was
20
about,
something.
yeah, so we just rounded it off at 25.
So it's
cents.
not a 25-cent increase, it's going up to 25 cents, is that correct?
No, it's a 25.
It'll
Okay.
be, instead of $2, it's gonna be $2.25 per parcel.
I understand, thank you.
The only thing I figured is, there was a lot of stuff that wasn't added in, you know, like office supplies and stuff like that some other time, and that we lost money last year. I thought that to keep pace, it should have been around 50 cents, because there was 11,858 parcels by the figures that were put here on what we received and how much we were short. So I mean, I can accept the 25 cents, but I was just thinking we probably should have went up a little bit on it.
Well, and
Well,
it's not a
mean-
matter of trying to make money off our townships.
Well, what,
So, we had basically a $2016 loss last year. By changing that, we're actually gonna break even. We're not gonna operate it as a loss.
okay, so we're gonna make up for the 2,000 last year and gain it this year on the 25 cents. Is that what you're saying?
It'll be a break even now.
It'll be,
We're not.
But
No.
we're not gonna gain, we're
We're not
not gonna make up.
we're
for
gonna
the-
gain a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, but not make up for what we lost.
No.
last
No.
year.
And whatever we
Well, that's what I
gain-
was trying to figure out, to
Yeah,
be fair.
whatever we gain, it'll, say by the end of next year, if that wasn't enough money, the money that we gained out of it, we can use that.
So this will be a process for the finance committee every year to make sure that we stay pace
Above.
with what it costs the county. We don't want to make money, like you said.
Right.
Right.
But we just want to make sure we don't have another $2,000-3,000 a year loss. Okay, that, I
See
can
where-
live with that. I was trying to make up for last year, that's all.
About 3 years ago, we did not have per parcel, it was per capita. And I don't know what the, really, how much money we lost then, but the $2 give us a lot more money, and we gained quite a bit.
And we can do the work.
Correct.
And the townships have, they just either accept this or deny this, and then they'll have to go out on their own if they don't?
Right.
Is that how this
Right.
works? Okay. So it's pretty fair for both townships and our county employees and departments.
So we got a motion, a second discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion pass. Sheriff, that's number 9, Sheriff Seasonal Marine Patrol.
The Finance Committee reviewed this and recommends the retitling of the seasonal Marine Patrol to the part-time Special Operations. I had previously discussed this with the sheriff, and he agreed that deputies should be utilized, these deputies in particular, could be utilized in other areas as special operations. We have ORV, snowmobile, marine, catch me if I'm missing anything.
Anything that's not road is special operations.
Correct. So he's looking to move these to part-time special operations. This did not go before the Personnel Committee because he has the authority to make the designation himself. However, he needs the financing to back it up, so. For approval from the commissioners to pursue this.
So I need a motion.
I'll move that we reclassify the seasonal Marine Patrol deputies to part-time special operation deputies. Is that what we're looking for? That's what I'll make.
Oh.
From, are the Marine Patrol deputies gonna still be there, or are they all
No,
gonna be?
we're gonna be on. Sorry,
Okay.
I read or heard it
To all
backwards.
part-time special operation deputies, so they can be utilized.
I'll support.
Any discussion?
How much is this gonna cost us extra? Does anyone know, or just the same?
It's not going to, so this actually saves the county, from paying our road patrol officers overtime on,
Excellent decision. Maybe not for the ones that like the overtime, but for all the citizens and taxpayers, it's a good move forward.
yes.
Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion pass. Number 10, medical examiner, cremation permit policy and procedure.
This also went through the finance committee, and during our discussions, we came up with the conclusion that we start charging a fee for the cremation permits that are authorized by our medical examiner at the cost of $63. And as you can see in the support, I had asked that we do not make this effective until after the new year to give time for procedures to be put in place regarding with the funeral homes coordination, medical examiner and such.
So I need a motion.
Motion to approve.
I need support.
Support.
Any discussion?
Yep. Reason I'm pretty active tonight. Why is this being brought forward? Do we need the money? Is this
So-
money a lack of money? Do these people that pass away, their relatives or family, now have to pay additional money to the, is the funeral homes gonna charge them more and stuff?
Right, it will be passed on.
I don't like it. I don't like that just because other people do it, that we need to do it. I mean, unless there's, if it's just wanting more money and there isn't a need for it because we're already having these costs covered. One thing that don't like is when something's put in there that because other counties are doing it, we should be doing it. And
Well, that was your argument with Penwin. Other counties are doing it, we should do it too.
no, but this is a tax. No, Penwin is, they're on their own.
But you
We're not
said-
spending a penny on that, and we're not taxing any of the citizens anything. There's completely different philosophy here.
So we're mandated to have the medical examiner, and we cover all costs with no means of reimbursement. This will help alleviate those costs that we are obligated to.
But it sounded like when I read this, that these people were paying this to the funeral homes already. Some type of expense for cremation.
I mean, the funeral home may have their costs associated with, but this would be a county fee.
So, I don't know, and plus you picked the most high, the highest scale one available, which was Marquette County, and then you have like 8 or 9 of them here that are only $50. See, it just doesn't sit right with with trying to get more money out of the citizens, especially when the only thing is that you can be guaranteed is death and paying taxes. Now we're gonna be paying more on a death of taxes that I don't see where the money's gonna go. Do they
Towards
pay the
our
county
Medical
directly?
examiner department to alleviate the costs.
So we're having an issue there that they're not having enough revenue to run that department?
Well, it's within the general fund.
Oh, okay. Just giving you my thoughts. It's just, any time to try to raise something just because somebody else does it and we haven't been doing it, that might be a good reason to come here and maybe pass away here. It's a little cheaper. I'm not trying to make light of it, but it's something that I just thought, why are we? And then we pick the highest amount.
I was gonna say, you look at this for cremation, but if you have to have a plot open, you pay for that.
Very
So,
expensive.
well, but
Very.
there are other inferred costs with what funerals that are there. So I mean, it's not like this is just the only thing you pass away and this is the only thing you.
Believe
pay
me,
for.
I
There's-
know. I just had a couple of
Exactly.
that
I
that
mean,
happened.
yeah.
It's expensive, but I'm just trying to figure out for taxpayers that just because we can do it doesn't mean it's the right thing to always do. Just try to get extra. There's gonna be other things coming up with this material management and there's different millages that different areas of our county is gonna be asking for. And I know this is small and insignificant, but it's not for people that might have to pay it. That's just my opinion.
May I?
Yes.
Ashley, I would like for you to explain to the board and to the public why you feel this is important for us to pass.
Let me pull up my little spiel so I don't miss anything. So, this was brought forward to me from our current medical examiner, looking at ways to alleviate the costs associated with the medical examiner's department. We pay on autopsies, some if they're internal, or I should say non-complex, they are kept here. However, if they're complex, we do send them down to Kalamazoo. So we pay transportation costs and such. Also, we pay a stipend or contract amount to our medical examiner, and then we also have MEIs, which will be coming forward in the next meeting. So we're just looking at some ways to recoup all of these costs that are costing the county through means. It takes some time for the medical examiner to authorize these permits and such. Also, our county clerk was recently at a conference, and other counties are looking into this to try to help the county with the medical examiner costs. This is the reason why I do, because I'm always here to look for more revenues into the county and looking ways that this doesn't just cost just the taxpayers, these are just individuals, so you don't have to be a property owner to have this fee attached to it.
And wouldn't you say, in your best, with your recommendation and your advice, that, you know, other department heads or other, like, for example, Steve Parks, he's come to us and said, oh, I need to be able to defray the costs of the court, so I'm gonna increase fees in order to do that. That's something that's been done in the past.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, okay. So this is not setting any type of precedent. This is just a way for us to defer the cost of the medical examiner office.
Correct, and I've seen over the past few years, just in controller position administration, the cost of the department has increased.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed?
Aye.
With one Before the one, passed. Number 11, administration, non-union elected official cost of living adjustment.
Again, brought forward from the Finance Committee with a recommendation. They are recommending a 3.5% increase to all part-time and full-time non-union and elected officials, excluding the Board of Commissioners. I'd like to also note that this increase is not applicable to the employees that are grant funded. So if they have a wage that's approved through a grant, their wage stays what the grant is at. And then if we have contracted individuals, at times, department heads will, these are non-union, of course, but will give a certain salary to employees and then say, you know, after year one, you'll get this increase and such. So those employees would not be applicable towards this. And we're just looking for approval of the recommendation.
Can I get a motion?
I'll move that we give the 3.5%. Is this just for 1 year? Just for
Correct.
2025?
Yes.
The 3.5% increase to the non-union administrative positions, or whatever they're called. What are they called? Non-union elected official cost of living adjustments, 3.5%.
Can I get support?
I'll support.
Any
Just
discussion?
Just make sure in the motion, it is except for county commissioners. We are not taking that 3.5% increase. Okay, I just want to make sure that's clear.
Do you want him to amend the motion to include that?
Will you amend your motion?
Yes, I will amend it that it does not include the 5 districts of our county.
Thank you.
Okay.
And then I'll make a comment on that.
And then,
Well, you gotta have a
Just-
second. Who seconded?
the second?
I did.
You
You
seconded
still
that?
okay with that?
Yes, I'm still okay with that.
Any discussion?
I think the 5 commission positions do need an increase. And I know we're not talking about that, but if you really do your job, this should be at least a 7 or 9 commission board. If you start looking at other counties that are our size, that, I don't know why we have only 5. It just seems that if you really go out there and start doing, you got a lot of people communicating with you, and you're busy. You know you're busy, and we're willing to do it. This board is willing to do it, but I think somewhere down the line.
It's based
It's-
off population density.
No, I know that. Menominee is about the same size as us, correct?
We tried in 2021 to, wasn't it 2021?
They're smaller, but they have a 9-member
I think it was
board.
22.
When did we have, it was 21 when we all met. It was me, Renee, you, Brad Mantala,
Oh, for reapportionment?
reapportionment. And Renee Richer and I tried to expand the commission to 7 or 9, and we were shot down.
Okay,
So-
well, I just wanted to make note of that the public has great commissioners that spend a lot of time, and I think it's gonna wear on you as you start getting these 4-year term after term. It's gonna, well, you'll see.
Yeah.
You'll see that it's gonna be very, I'm just glad we have commissioners that are willing to lose money in doing these positions to help the county, because it comes to that. You're all over the place, and I want to thank all the commissioners for doing that right now anyways, and the past board. I think they did a good job in putting all their time into, for what they were compensated for.
We have severely underpaid our employees. I do not feel comfortable taking an increase
Yeah.
when they need it more than we do.
Exactly.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion passed. Okay, number 12, we're going to 12, 13, and 14, we're going into closed session for the LOA corrections and the LOA road patrol.
And We
So
need
we
the,
have, what do we have? Corrections, contract extension, corrections, clerk wage increase, and road patrol. Okay.
but we need a.
I need a motion to go.
No, we need
Or-
the, hold on, we need the little
We need the
MCL.
MCL.
Oh, I did.
Sorry.
It's under MCL 15.2688C for collective bargaining.
I'll make that motion.
I'll support.
All in favor?
No,
Roll
roll
call.
call.
Roll call, that's right.
Well, what, is this something that can't be discussed in public? Because
We
it,
never have.
No.
okay, well, I mean, I'm trying to be more transparent here, and I'm just wondering what's the difference doing it behind doors and not in public? Is it that sensitive, we can't talk about it in public?
The details under.
I mean, are these agreements are already, you've been working on them for months, so I'm trying to figure out why all of a sudden are we brought in and we can't talk about it in the public of what you've worked so hard to try to accomplish? Well, I'm just,
It falls under the,
The closed session.
well, I know it does, but it seems like everything you've done already is done.
So it is to explain the strategy and negotiation sections that brought forward. So if you have any questions that I can't disclose, this will give you the opportunity.
Okay.
We
I
can
mean,
discuss those and then come forth. It does become public document after the fact, but
So it's
Yeah, you're not
just
making-
stuff you don't want to discuss with the people.
Roll call.
View,
Yes.
Crosdell,
Yes.
Van Genhoven.
Yes.
Jensen,
yes.
and Melner.
Yes.
Can I go to the bathroom?
Motion passed. Okay, we will go, number 12, closed session. LOA corrections, contract extension.
I'll make a motion to accept the contract extension and the LOA for corrections
For 6 months.
for 6 months.
I'll support.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion passed. Number 13, closed session, LOA corrections, clerk wage increase.
I'll move that
Okay,
we,
before he
What?
does that, but what you should do is announce that no actions
No
were taken
actions
was Oh.
in executive session.
Okay, there was no actions taken in the closed sessions. Sorry about that.
Thank you.
for that one, I'll move that we increase the clerk's wages for a 6-month extension up to $16.99 an hour. And is that extension extending to any other employees in that department? Okay, just for that.
position.
Okay, just for that position. 6 months extension and clerk wage increase of $16.99.
I'll support.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion passed. Number 14, there was I lost it. No action taken
Yeah.
on closed session LOA road patrol insurance for transfers.
I'll make the motion to, or that we accept the road patrol insurance for transfers. It's the clarification of language in their current contract.
Letter of agreement.
Yep.
Support.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passed. Okay. Come down to number 12, general public comment. Come on up, give your name.
Dennis Hopkins. Good evening. My name is Dennis Hopkins, Captain, United States Navy, retired. I'm a pilot and a 10-year tenant at Delta County Airport. With Bob Ransattler and Robin Morrison's resignation tonight as manager and assistant manager, you, the commissioners of Delta County, have once again failed the aviation and traveling community of this county and this region. The exception is Commissioner Vangenhoven, who's been working diligently since her May election to have a strong voice and support for the airport. You, and especially previous commissioners, have always viewed the airport as an afterthought. You want it to provide all the services of Marquette or Green Bay, but on a meager budget. You have allowed an airport advisory board to go through now 4 managers and 5 assistant managers since May 2018. This is lunacy. When the advisory board finally got it right with the current management team, and that new team was expected to work 60-plus hour work weeks at 40-hour weekly pay in order to pull the airport from the brink of disaster with the FAA. The result is that they're simply burned out, and they have zero support from the advisory board or yourselves. Bob and Robin brought this airport from the brink of decertification in 2024, fixing problems that were at least a decade in the making. And why were there so many problems? Because you and past commissioners, as well as the advisory board members, never bothered to peel the onion back one layer to see what was not happening. Finally, in June 2023, when that manager resigned, it became, those years of neglect were finally uncovered. I was once captain of a $1 billion warship. I learned early on that you expect what you inspect, but none of that happened. The excuse, particularly from the advisory board members, was, well, we're so busy with our day jobs. Well, so's everybody else. When requests for funding came to the commissioners to bring the airport into the 21st century, and I'm talking about past commissioners here as well, the answer was always no. You commissioners, again, with input from the advisory board, failed to even define what you want this airport to look like. What is on the airport website for a mission vision statement is pure pablum, lifted from elsewhere, drafted by the advisory board. If you can't define what the airport should be and support it with adequate funding and managerial staffing, it's no wonder that these problems exist. The responsibility for this leadership fiasco is the Airport Advisory Board itself. Specifically responsible is the board chair. It's been 14 months since Bob Ranstatler took over and 19 months since Robin Morrison was hired. In that time, they can't even get a job performance rating appraisal done, which is a department requirement. The advisory board was also negligent, I think, at hiring managers who were either arrogantly clueless, overwhelmed, or hamstrung by previous county administrators, such they couldn't do their jobs as they saw fit and simply quit. I have two recommendations for you commissioners. Number one, decide and define among you what you're going to do. Thank you.
Any other general public comment? Any other general public comment? Seeing none, we will move on to commissioner comments.
Just have a couple of things to try to keep it short for yous. There's 2 activities that are going in, that's happening in the month of December for children, out in Ford River at the Lions Club, December 14th from noon to 3. They're having a kids' Christmas party, hay rides, food, crafts, gifts, a visit from Santa, all that going on out there in Ford River on December 14th. And then we have the Escanaba Parade down Ludington on this Friday at 6 p.m. from City Hall to, I believe, the Marketplace or Stevenson Avenue area. Thank you, and y'all have a good night.
Commissioner View?
We have one more meeting before our term's up. I just want to mention that I would like to see if we can have an administrator evaluation of our time since the new commission was here and before we exit. I don't know if it's possible, but I would like to have it at the next board meeting. We hand out that new 360 thing that we passed and see if we can have either a public or closed session on where we stand before we leave. At least I would anyways. I don't know if any other commissioners are interested in starting the new year with some goals and stuff like that. So I just thought I'd bring that up. The airport, we're in good hands yet. I hope we have, I would like to do some value judgments on how the list of things happened from those that were interviewed. I'm looking forward to that before I leave also, so I hope we get that going real quick. We all got to go down there and sign some documentations tomorrow. And if somebody doesn't go there, I think they just won't have access to it. Is that my understanding? But it will still be available for people quickly.
I'm sorry, where? From here?
Down here, I mean, if we don't go down and sign tomorrow, we won't have passwords or keys to the information. But if we do sign, we can come here and have access to all that information that you have access to.
It's the start of the process. Once you sign, you don't immediately can come down here and have access.
I would like to see that access at least before Thursday or Friday. I mean, my time is short here and I have a lot of questions that I'm looking at getting answered, so my value judgments on what I thought would happen would be substantiated, that this is the reason why things happen and it all fits into place. That's what I'm looking at for.
Make it a directive or make it a motion.
I'll move that we have the documentation ready to review by all the people that have signed the agreement for confidentiality, safety-sensitive information, available for any commissioner that wants it by Friday.
Support.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion passed.
And the other thing is, did we get a veteran representative for my district number 2 yet for that council.
Dave is currently working on that. He had some candidates that he was interviewing to bring in.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure that, you know, if there's veterans out there and you want to have a say in how we operate our funds to support veterans in the community, and you have a little bit of time, even if you don't, you just want to put the effort out there, send your application in. I guess we have a few, but I would pass that out there. And I just want to end by saying, God bless Delta County.
Commissioner Kelly.
Yes, I'd just like to start off by saying that since May of 2022, I had made a valiant effort to attend as many of the airport advisory board meetings that I could via Zoom when Andrea Newman was still the airport manager, or in person when Andrea was there, when Andrea was gone, and when Robert began his tenure as airport administrator. It was my goal, if elected, to sit on that airport advisory board because I found the board continued to lack motivation. I feel that the airport advisory board, as it stands now, is not in a position that we should allow them to handle the hiring of our new airport manager. Therefore, I'd like to make a motion to conduct a vote of no confidence in our current airport advisory board. And that's a motion.
Support? I'll do a support just to get discussion.
So what I'm asking for technically is to conduct a vote of no confidence, which would remove all members of the airport advisory board, and we would look to conduct reappointments to that board. A majority of the people on that board have been there for almost a decade. They have watched as managers have come and gone. They have watched as assistant managers have come and gone, and they have done nothing to try to resolve the situation. I think that in order for our airport to move forward and to have a successful future, we need to build it from the ground up. And I do not see any activity in that airport advisory board that would constitute me seeing the airport move forward in the future. I had a struggle to even find somebody willing to do a subcommittee for a turnover binder, which is going to come now in great because we're losing both our assistant manager and our manager. And if we wouldn't have if we didn't have that turnover binder, the person coming in is, just like Bob had nothing. And how long do we, as a Board of Commissioners, allow something like this to continue without there being a change? There's been no repercussions for an ineffective board. We've had the same board chair for many years. He's watched airport managers come and go, and there's no repercussions for them. And I feel the only way that our airport can move forward and be successful is that if we do a clean slate, start over with new board members, and then we, as the Board of Commissioners, handle the hiring process with outside consultants.
One of the things when we first started, that we had said we wanted to see very much a more active airport board. The very beginning that we had, and having sat through the first couple, it was like going through the motions. And I agree. I seen exactly where that is when you're trying to do something as simple as set up the subcommittee and for either Commissioner Vangenhoven or myself to help facilitate that for board members. And we've done that successfully in several other boards. and those individuals volunteer because they know there's someone that's gonna be there with them and help them. They're not gonna have to do all the work. But the appearance and the feeling was, that's a great idea, but that's not my job. And they wanted, it always felt like they were trying to direct that back to the airport manager themselves. And this is one, I think, as a board, you have to be able to take ownership. It's like your bylaws.
Yeah, Commissioner Jensen and I sat with Administrator Rand Statler and really examined the denigration of the airport bylaws over the last 15 years, and saw that it basically went from a very active, required active participation board to an advisory board. And they use that as an excuse constantly to not do work. They say, oh, we just advise. It's our job just to advise. And I said, okay, well, how long do we sit here with our administrator saying that he cannot complete tasks due to a backlog of work? Every month we hear the same thing, and there's not a resolution brought forward from this board to help support him by saying, I will help you, or I will find someone to help you. And I don't feel that if we continue on this path, we are just circling around and around. We are not going to make any progress. And like I said, before the election, was we have to decide how we're going to move this airport forward. If we want to be competitive and we want to be able to have multiple airlines in here and remove EAS status so that we can have more, competitive airlines vying for this, we cannot survive how we are functioning now. How do you expect the same two people with a non-active board to do things to move our airport forward? Our past airport manager said she was drowning and she got no help from her airport advisory board. Our current administrator has said he is drowning and is not getting help from his airport advisory board. You've had a general aviation tenant for the last 15 years come up and say he sees no activity from the airport advisory board. I have seen it, Matt has seen it, so I don't know how we would be able to move this airport forward, and I have no confidence that they are going to be able to find the right airport manager for the future. That's all. I am very passionate about the airport.
To give some insight, it was last month. It was prior, we seen when one of the aircraft command, of course, we still have a ramp observer. And our airport manager is going out to be that ramp observer. First off, that's an hour and a half that he's not doing what we're paying him for because he has to be out there on the ramp. That was one where Kelly and I got together and said, hey, I can sit there and watch an airplane for an hour and a half.
Train me, I'll learn.
Yep. What do you need me to do? What training do I need to do to go sit out there and watch the aircraft to make sure it's safe and secure? You know what? That's two people. That's a matter of taking initiative that we're not getting out of that board. No, I don't know that they can actually go out and do that job. There may be some cases with some of them they can, some of them can't. But if it's as simple as we were trying to get the aircraft at the front of the airport repainted, you know how easy it is for one of those individuals to pick up the phone and start doing the legwork to come back to present back at that board meeting to our manager versus our managers spending that time to try to even get that fixed. So there's plenty of ones that are out there that I agree with that could be a whole lot more active. Especially if you actually want to step up and do it. One of the things I would hope going forward, if motion passes, is that individuals that volunteer want to be there. It's not a matter of just, showing up. It's what can I do? And what can I do to make it better? And what can I do to help? And I know we've reached out several times on what can we do. But the portions of what we can do versus what the board can do are not the same, unfortunately. So, John.
Any more discussion?
I would just like to say, I don't think I'm gonna approve this. I think that maybe there was a better way to handle it than just eliminate the whole board. I sat on the board for a while, prior to just a couple of meetings with our current airport manager. Some of them people on that board, maybe they've been there for a while, but they have a lot of knowledge. I don't know if there's a procedure or something that they had to read to get on that board and what their responsibilities are. I would prefer them to be able to come forward and tell us why they're on the board and what they think, or at least talk to our administrator to see if, there's one or two people on that board that are, that I thought were putting in the passion to make that airport good. I'm gonna tell you that right now. I mean, because there
Then
were.
they can reapply.
I just think we're going about it the wrong way, in my personal opinion. I think it should have been done, not publicly, but when you,
I was gonna say, one concern is we're losing the assistant manager.
we're losing,
And-
yep.
Right, I mean, but immediately. And now all of a sudden, and we already know our airport manager is leaving. And now you would completely gut anything that's there if we were to go through with this now, at a time when you still need at least some experience and some guidance that's in there.
We could have talked to them. We could have talked to these, and maybe they would resign or whatever. I just think publicly it's not in my gut to do stuff like that. I mean, sometimes I'd like to for some people, but I just feel it's wrong at this time to do that. And I think the board can speak for itself by what it's did and how you're so passionate about things not getting done, but maybe they don't know what they're supposed to do, some of them. But I know some of them talked about a lot of good advances that were supposed to be coming to the airport. Where does it stop with their authority as advisory to where we pick it up, is all I'm saying. Maybe there's a disconnect a little bit there. I mean, but I understand what you're trying to do. I just have a hard time supporting that at this time.
That's fine.
Any more discussion?
I'm sorry, may I offer a quick input, or is that?
No,
It just might help the board arrive at a decision, I don't know, but.
I don't think so.
No, not normally.
I mean, well, it's the chair. The chair can make exceptions. So as, John, you can make an
The
exception.
standards
It's-
usually no, but.
Sure. Let's hear it.
It's not up to us.
I feel that I could probably offer a little insight to this. I think there's a popular misconception that the airport manager reports to the airport board. That's not the case.
Right.
According to the current bylaws, the airport manager is a member of the airport board by virtue of their position. So I am a member of the airport board. And for what it's worth, I think that the issue that we're kind of discussing here, and the problem is, and you hit it, Commissioner View, is a lot of the members of the airport board, I think if you sat them down and individually and spoke with them and asked them, what are your responsibilities as a member of the airport advisory board? I don't think you get the same answer out of every single member.
No.
I think the board lacks a very clear vision of what it is supposed to do and the hierarchy that it represents or occupies in relation to the airport manager and perhaps the county board of commissioners. Now, the bylaws clearly state that its responsibility is to advise this body of all matters at the airport. But I can't recall any time in recent memory that any members of the airport board, excluding myself or the two commissioners here, have ever reported to this body or advocated on behalf of anything for the airport. So there's an obligation there in my mind that's being left unfulfilled. And I think that stems from the fact that a lot of the members of this board just don't have an idea of where they belong. So my recommendation and suggestion is that I would think in the county board of commissioners might want to take a very close look at those airport bylaws and perhaps sit down and maybe put something in writing that clearly defines what the responsibilities of the airport board are. And if at that point, the airport board members feel they can't fulfill those responsibilities because perhaps they don't have the time or whatever the reason is, then maybe it is time for a change. Yeah.
Thank you.
Any more discussion? I want to, roll call on this.
No. I'm voting to eliminate,
That's what the motion was.
the current board will be eliminated. I vote, no.
Rosdell,
No.
Vangenhoven,
Yes.
Jensen,
No.
and Melner.
I'll vote, boy, I'll vote no for now. And I would like to see each of the board members have a chance to talk about what they need to get done.
Work with Ashley. That's what I
Yeah.
want. Have the administrator kind of project what Kelly is looking for. I mean, that's my suggestion, but it's
And
not
I
my
mean-
fault. It's your fault.
Yeah.
For you.
No, it's okay.
Yeah.
Can I
for it.
finish my comment? Okay. So, at this time, I would just like to recognize Mrs. Fatante from the City of Escanaba Library. Mrs. Fatante is going to be retiring as the children's librarian. She was hired by the City of Escanaba as the children's librarian in 1984. She worked at the Carnegie Library until the move to the current library in 1995. She's been employed as the children's librarian within the City of Escanaba for a total of 40 years. She was my she was my librarian as a child. She was my children's librarian as a child, as they were children. And a daily stop to the library always included a stop to say hi to Mrs. Fatante. She was passionate about what she did. She never asked for recognition for anything, but they are going to be having an open house for her on December 17th at the Escanaba City Library, but she refused snacks and she refused cake because that's how she is. But I would just like to thank her for her dedication to the city of Escanaba and all the lives that she touched and the children that will always remember their library lady and the stories that she told to them. So thank you to Mrs. Fatante. And that's all I have.
Commissioner Jensen.
I was going to say, for those that I've been fortunate enough to have interacted with Mrs. Fentanti as well, whether that was bringing groups in from Civil Air Patrol or with the Astronomy Club, more specifically, one of the last ones, we actually were able to do a project she set up or help set up to provide safe solar viewing devices, and we made them right there in the library for the kids. And that was just one of the latest ones. So it's definitely been a pleasure, and she's going to be missed when you go in there, that's for sure. One of the big ones that we saw out there is our contract negotiations. There is one that we have left, I believe. One? Yep, just one. The others are either been completed or there's temporary agreements on. I will tell you that it has been challenging, to say the least. There's only, and that's the hard part about even what we ran into here is the financial piece. It's not always a matter of not wanting to do things. It's not a matter of wanting to do more. It's where do we try to get funding from? And there's been departments that have been very creative. There's departments, I can't imagine how much time they spend looking for grants, as well as individuals and departments in their creativity to help get there and continue to move forward. That's not something that's going to be getting any easier in the future. So that's going to be a continuing challenge. Part of our rollout be probably January, second quarter, I think is when the requests go out to the departments to start that portion of next year's budget cycle already. So that's, pardon me? Yeah, we're going to definitely try to start that earlier this year. We're going to do a few things that hopefully make things a little easier in the process, both for the departments and for our administrator. and you should be able to hear from the department heads at various stages along the process as well. So it's going to allow more of what they're looking at and what they're trying to spell out to the public and why they need what they say they need, not just them coming to the board and say, I need X, Y, and Z to operate. It's going to be up to them they're going to be able to put it out there. The public's going to see where they're at and where their struggles are, whether they feel that's in pay, whether that's in manpower, whether that's in equipment. So all those things are going to start to come out, and those departments are going to lay it out there for everybody in the public. So look forward to that coming up here really soon. For those that are definitely heading out early, I know we're going to head in tomorrow. Just be cautious. We are under storm advisory for tonight, so we could get a few more inches depending on where you live. It could be a few inches or it could be a lot of inches. So definitely drive safe tonight and tomorrow.
Nancy?
Nothing for me.
Administrator Young?
Yeah, I just want to kind of thank Bob for his dedication, his year of service to Delta County Airport, his leadership, innovation, and a lot of his team building contributions have been really valuable to the airport, and I'm really grateful for the extended notice. So that's all. Thank you, Bob.
Thank you.
I don't have much, but I want to thank Bob for doing what he did, and it's very appreciative, and hopefully we can continue down the same road, so that's all I got. Meeting schedule, regular Board of Commissioners meeting on 12/17/24 at 5:15 in the service room. Notice of 30-day appointments, there is none. Need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Support.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passed.
Ashley, have we gotten any